Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Los Angeles Lakers played the Los Angeles Clippers today at the Crow, and unfortunately, Lakers did not get it done. Once again, they get a loss against the Clippers this year. With this one, though, to be honest with you, I felt like we saw really good effort from the entire team. You know, it wasn't the greatest execution, but you didn't walk away from this loss upset at the guys at all. You just kind of walked away thinking, you know, you first of all, I would love to say it just simply came down to us going up against a team that played good defense, that was scrappy, played better team basketball than we did. That is what it was, but it's kind of this too. Dwight Howard was absolutely phenomenal in the first half. He had a double double in like the first quarter, basically. Defensively, he was on point. He had 7 offensive rebounds. The rest of the team had 6. He literally had more offensive rebounds than the entire squad. And because of it, we doubled their offensive rebounding total, the Clippers, basically. Or I think we had one less than that. And it was because of his offensive rebounding dominance. We just a better team when he's out there. Now, granted, that didn't really hold up because the Clippers were shooting the ball very, very well, and we were shooting it poorly during the time when he was on the floor. So there was a moment where you look up and he's doing all this great stuff, and we're down by 15. So I'm sitting there and thinking, this doesn't really work in my favor in terms of trying to make a point to make Dwight a more of a focal point. That kind of worked in Frank's favor, seeing it work that way. But all in all, I just felt like when it really came down to it, it still came down to us not being able to get stops or offensive rebounds down the stretch of that basketball game. Now, granted, you want to take your hat off to the Clippers because we were up by 5 with like 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go, and they, just completely ran our poor defensive effort over and took care of what they had to take care of. Guys hit big shots on both ends. You want to give credit to guys like THT and Austin Reeves. Um, you know, Obviously you want to give credit to the other team, Markieff Morris, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann had a huge game tonight. Robert Covington played very well for them. You just understand that this is one of those games where you just understand coach may have leaned on our vets a little too much tonight. On a night like where THT really had his shot going, I need him to have more minutes than a guy like Carmelo Anthony. Um, and granted, like I always say, he leans on the vets, but not the ones you want him to. It's like, okay, it came down to Carmelo Anthony taking the final shot. I didn't need Carmelo taking that shot. That was not a winning play. I mean, if he makes it, hooray. But timing wise, when you've watched enough Kobe Bryant in your life, you know how the closing seconds of a basketball game is supposed to go in your possession. You know how that's supposed to look. And that was just all kinds of off rhythm. Um, it was a losing shot, man. It wasn't the only thing that went wrong tonight, but it's just one of those situations where I always come back to saying, and I mean this very respectfully when I say this, but I mean it true. You could just tell by some of the habits that some of these superstars that have been on our team, they don't know how to win, man. You know, it's not in a disrespectful way. It's literally the science of managing a clock, managing your breathing and your emotions and your butterflies to execute down the stretch of a basketball game and to have that killer instinct in those moments. When you've watched, like I said, enough Kobe Bryant, enough Shaquille O'Neal, you just know what it's supposed to look like when a game is on the line and you're about to win it. Um, and what it doesn't. And I can honestly say that a guy like Carmelo Anthony tonight showed us just a losing play in those moments when you take that shot in that rhythm. Um, I just want to see us grow as a team. Now, obviously, we're well past the point where we're trying to get better with this roster, which is kind of unfortunate. Um, and it just seems like the Lakers have yet to understand that, and they have yet to make the shift. But it's necessary to make that shift right now. Um, I like that I saw a lot of Austin Reeves tonight. He was excellent. fantastic highlight where he blocked a shot and dug all into Reggie Jackson on a play where he was diving out of bounds. Just a really, really great sequence for the young fella. His three-point shot still isn't falling. Got to give him credit because he hit some clutch free throws down the stretch, even though we didn't win. They won't be forgotten here. And you just like how the team played overall, the youngsters. Malik Monk didn't really have it tonight, but he didn't get the minutes either. He should have been on the floor more. Stanley, same thing. I would have loved to seen Stanley play more. He had a couple sequences where he just didn't quite make the right play. Maybe could have pump faked here instead of allowing himself to get blocked, or maybe could have hit a jump shot where it just didn't fall. But those are the type of things where I think guys get docked in terms of their playing time, where they really should be just given more rope to continue to play. Because a guy like Stanley Johnson is going to do much more good than bad. He just needs to play more. And I think if we put more belief in some of these young fellas to give them bigger roles right now, I think it'll really pay off next season. I really, really believe that. And I just think that, as I said, I'm a big Carmelo Anthony guy. I want to see him win. I want to see him do what he did for us tonight in a much better situation for himself. Because right now, it's a losing basketball team. And, there's no sense in him having to go down with the ship. He's not making that type of money to have to sit here for this. So I want to see him in a situation where he's playing meaningful basketball. And this is just a situation where I'm asking the coach to sit him down because I want to see the youngsters. I want that to be THT. I want that to be Austin Reeves. It ain't nothing against Carmelo. It's just about what we're about right now. And what we're about right now should be the future of the Lakers. That's what our thinking should be. The future is now. The process of beginning our rebuild is now. Get the most out of what you can right now. Before you even start thinking about trading LeBron or none of that, you raise the value of the players currently existing on this team. And if we're not doing that, then we're still off our job. So what I saw was a semi-effort in that direction, but still a propensity to lean on vets. Due to the necessities of the roster right now, due to the fact that we just haven't replaced those players. But I'm encouraging the Lakers to really get on the ball as it pertains to that. It's not about being disrespectful. It's not about anything. It's just about knowing where you're at, seeing that it doesn't help you to continue to lean on vets anymore. You need to find assets. So that's where my head is always going to be as we speak of this team. So with that being said, the Clipper loss was a nice effort. I felt like the guys really gave it to us. A lot can be said for referees having to review plays. You saw a prime example on national television tonight of why they need to revamp that entire process. 3 straight fouls or plays down the stretch of the basketball game that took up probably, I don't want to exaggerate, but probably a good 30 minutes of our time. Just sitting there looking at referees stand around. I mean, I just understand you want to get these plays correct. But what we saw tonight was a prime example of why this isn't working. And they need to change it. They need to change it immediately. As soon as the season ends, they don't need to see another game. Just show them the footage of this one, and they'll understand why that's a terrible product to put on the floor. Having nothing to do with the athletes, obviously. It's just not something you want to see. They got to expedite that process. So I'm glad that game played out the way that it did on national television. That was necessary. They needed to see that. So, yeah, some fantastic plays that led to that, though. LeBron James and his excellent coordination. I mean, I don't know how in the world, even though ultimately the play didn't go our way, he was able to keep his balance 1 foot inbound and then make it so incredibly precise in terms of his foot and his hand letting go of the ball at the exact same time on a particular play as he was falling out of bounds. You just understand the precision of what he can do with his body and his coordination. It was really, really special out there, really special. So I give him credit, even though it didn't go in our favor. It was such a special play that they had to sit there and stare at it for about 5 minutes before they could really understand what they were looking at. So, got to give credit where credit is due. Probably about 3 athletes in the world could do what he did there. But even all in all, he didn't have a great game. Not for his standards. I thought he settled for a lot of shots, and that's what went wrong. Some of the plays out there, I just felt like he could have did a better job of getting other people involved. And I always say this: I understand that this is the LeBron James show, and I understand when he wants to, he get everybody involved. When he wants to, he can do whatever he wants at any given moment. And since he's playing for nothing, it doesn't mean nothing. But I do believe that basketball is played so much smoother when you just allow guys to make mistakes. Don't worry at all in these situations about whether a guy is going to make the right decision. You just make sure he gets the ball in rhythm. And I just felt like there were certain key moments tonight where LeBron James was more so, I guess, more engulfed in whatever it is that he's feeling. It wasn't really giving a damn too much about kind of getting everybody involved like that tonight. And I just felt like there were moments at the time where he was kind of taking his own shot, kind of pulling up for certain three-point shots, taking it upon himself to do certain things where I felt like he could have did more to get other players involved. And I just, feel like what the team needs is to see these youngsters get more reps. And it would be great if he were on board with that too, seriously, because that's ultimately what this team needs. So I just want us to straighten out our priorities as a team. It was understood that Rich Paul had a conversation with the Laker management and reassured them that he's focused on being a Laker and wants to help turn this thing around. Well, if he wants to do that, he's gonna have to help us from the ground floor, because that's where we at. Seriously. And you gotta just respect that. You're on a team that needs to rebuild, bro. This is not a team that needs to be going forward with the LeBron James era. That's not what we need for ourselves. Now, if you could somehow turn Russell Westbrook into a bunch of picks and a bunch of talent, then hey, we're back on schedule. But as far as I'm concerned, the AD LeBron James thing, that's dead, man. So a game like tonight when we had that 5-point lead, 2:30 to go, and we couldn't get a stop, told me all I needed to know. Couldn't get a stop. And part of the reason was because Dwight wasn't on the floor, even though he had an historic first half for his age. Coach Frank Vogel's gonna treat him like he's a bad guy, and so until he comes around on Dwight Howard, which could be well after both of them are gone, we're gonna continue to see situations where we lose basketball games because we don't have offensive rebounding on the floor, and that has been the great problem for this team all season, and it came down to that again tonight. And for all the effort that the team put up, just like I said with the Golden State game, for all the effort that the team puts in, it really doesn't matter when you don't have the right players put in the right positions on the basketball floor, and so they're gonna let Frank Vogel continue to do this, so we're gonna continue to look the way that he's gonna make us look. Our record will reflect that decision going forward, just as it has every game this season, basically. So that is my take on things. I give credit to the Los Angeles Clippers for having 6 players in double figures. I give credit to the Lakers for only having 12 turnovers. Russell Westbrook, if I'm not mistaken, didn't turn the ball over at all tonight. He did not shoot the ball very well at all. But, you take your W's from him where you can get them. I just hope he can put it together one day where he's not turning the ball over and going crazy. That would really help us. But him going 9 for whatever it was, I think it was 9 for a lot. That's just, you might as well turn the ball over. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. But it just is what it is, man. I'm not disappointed in the team. I'm not even disappointed in Frank. I just expect Frank to do these things now. You don't even get mad. You just wait for it. But all in all, I think when you couple with the fact that we've been working against this small ball decision all year long, you figure from within the parameters of what you expect from the team, we did good tonight. Doesn't even really feel like we lost, to be honest. And that's saying something. So, kudos go to the Clippers, our rivals, for getting us this year. They definitely get bragging rights. They're a better team, no question about it. But all in all, we still have a lot of pride, and um, there will be another game to fight. So we just keep on fighting. That's just what it's about. I'll tell you this though, Austin Reeves is showing me he's a real Laker. And what I think winning basketball is about, the type of mentality that I want to see from everybody else, he's showing me. And that's what I could say I took away from tonight's game the most. He's showing me that he's a real Los Angeles Laker. And so we need to make sure that we have him on this team going forward. His basketball IQ is unmatched. The dude is a genius. Nothing short of it. He draws offensive rebounds, or rather offensive rebounds, since we're talking about it, very well. But he draws offensive fouls about as well as anybody. You know, your favorite flopper, he's better than him. He's just like the evolution of a flopper. The evolution of the guy who draws charges. This is that. That's what you see in Austin Reeves. And so look for that going forward, because he draws fouls. So yeah, man, that's what I took from it, man. It's a big game for him and THT. Even though his plus minus was awful, the shot was falling. See how that works? Him and Westbrook, if they're not turning the ball over, they making shots, but maybe they are turning the ball over, but the shot's falling. So it's like if they can just put it together, man, will we have excellent production from those two players. Speaking of which, we did see sequences with them both on the floor tonight at the same time. And I'm going to say this again, I do not think that's a good idea. It has proven to be a bad idea, and I just pointed out. That's all I can do. What else? There was something else about this game that really stood out. It seemed like LeBron James spent a lot of his time on the floor, sliding on the ground. I think a lot of that had to do with the toughness of Marcus Morris, who deserves all the credit in the world for how he came at us tonight. Just really hitting big shots and throwing his weight around early, making sure people felt him. I felt like he was helpful to his team in that way. Zubats had a pretty good game, very solid, coming off injury if I'm not mistaken. Hartenstein missed 2 free throws down the stretch, which was really, really interesting to me. Ultimately, he played hard, but that was telling. He almost gave the game away. And Luke Kennard, man. Luke Kennard shot the lights out. That dude was really, really kicking our butts out there. You want to give him credit. Some of the shots that he was taking, shot selection is just growing. I know that you look at him and say that dude is borderline bust. They should have took Donovan Mitchell back in Detroit, that situation. But I honestly think that the Clippers have found something in Luke Kennard. And even though he's not going to turn into that level of talent, what he is going to be is a very, very, very good, pure stretch player. A player that's going to stretch the floor for you, a shooter. And, the one thing that stood out about him early on for me, even when he was with Detroit, is how excellent his footwork is and how well he darts in and out of the lane with that footwork. You know, he could bounce off screens very, very well. Really, really hard to guard. So as that dude continues to grow, I think the Clippers are going to find he'll be their Joe Harris. You know what I mean? That kind of role. He'll be that guy for them. Their Steve Kerr. He's going to be that. When they get all their pieces back, that Clipper team is going to be super deadly next year. I'm telling you that right now. Ty Lue and the adjustments he made, the great antithesis to our coach, doing what he needed to do to move pieces around and get the hot hand going and make the right plays and all different stuff, just down the stretch, doing what he needed to do to be the better coach on the floor, as always. He just is who he is, man. But anyway, I've run out of time. I should have freed up some more space, but we got like 30 seconds left on this video. So all in all, I want to give the game ball just to the entire Clippers team with 6 players in double figures and great defense to show for it. And that's what it is, man. Lakers lose, but no big deal. Good effort, all in all. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching.